Okay, this is my first cut at a presentation of CU football. So, just going to run through it very quickly, and then I'm going to take a look at what I did here, make some mental notes as to how I can improve it, and then I'm going to do it a second time, probably with someone. So here we go. So when I think about CU football, I have to begin with the rich history that we have here at CU. We have one of the longest running football programs in the country. The first time that we put on football uniforms and played a game here at CU was back in 1890. So there aren't many schools that can look back that far and talk about the way that the program has developed over those 125 years. And along the way, there have been, lots of great accomplishments that we can be very proud of. Beginning with the fact that, we are one of the only schools to have had a football player that went on to become a justice on the United States Supreme Court, and that was Wizard White back in the 1930s. We followed that up with a national championship in 1990. And then in 1994, we had a Heisman Trophy winner in Rashaan Salaam. And so when you look back on all of that, there really, to my knowledge, there are no schools that can boast the fact that all four of those things have happened, that they've had a program in existence for 125 years, that they have players that have gone on to great prominence outside of football, like the United States Supreme Court. They've won a national championship, and they've had a Heisman Trophy winner. And the reason that I begin there and share that with you is because it is comforting to know that you as a player will have that kind of history behind you, that kind of support behind you, that kind of legacy behind you. And it's comforting to know that all of us feel like we need to protect that. Not just those players that played then, but those of us that are now here. And I would say that includes players and coaches and students and faculty and staff and residents in the Boulder community, if not in the state of Colorado. So it's comforting to know that you're going to be a part of that kind of program. And we've been a part of several conferences in the time that we've had our football program. Most people remember us as being part of the Big 8, which later became the Big 10, and then became the Big 12. And we won several conference championships during the many years that we were a part of that conference. But those schools all were to the east of us, and they really didn't align very well with us being in the West. And so back in 2011, the decision was made that we were going to leave the Big 12 and join the Pac-12. And that was a very important point in our history because we began playing with and against schools that were more aligned with our school, particularly as it concerns the importance of academics. So, we now play against schools like Stanford, Cal, UCLA, and it just feels better to us. Perhaps more importantly, though, a lot of our alumni are in states where those schools are located, and we recruit a lot of students from those states. And so it has set us up, I think, to be even more successful going forward, because of the conference that we play in. And the conference, in addition to being extremely competitive, is one of the top 5 conferences in the country. It's a Power 5 conference which gets a tremendous amount of visibility on national television, and we are eligible to compete for the national championship. So, the reason that I bring that up is that I think that it's important for players to know that, they are going to be competing in a conference with like schools, like-minded schools where the athletes are studying, and also where they're going to get some visibility, either among friends, family, NFL coaches, whatever the case may be. So it's a great conference that we are now a part of. Now, along the way, we've lost our way. I mean, there's no question that there was a period during, the early 2000s when we did not have the level of program, the quality of program that we were accustomed to. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that we fell behind in terms of our athletic facilities. That all changed when we opened the Champion Center back 2 years ago. And we now, with the Champion Centers, have a world-class training facility, not only for our football players, but for all of our athletes. And it includes an indoor practice facility, which allows our teams to practice when the weather is not as good as it usually is here in Boulder. We have world-class medical facilities, rehab facilities, training facilities for our athletes. They have their dining room and lounges are here. And then we also have some other things that just remind us of our legacy. And we have a bit of a walk of fame where the Heisman Trophy is located. The National Championship Trophy is down there. All of our championships rings are down there. And so it's kind of become a place, a center for us to not only remember what we expect in the way of a high-quality program, but it allows our players to get all of the resources that they need to be successful. And then finally, it's a place where they can come together as a community. And all of that being in Champion Center has resulted in us now being able to recruit the kind of athletes that we were losing before we had that facility open, as well as the coaching staff that we now have. So the Champion Center, we can't say enough about it and its importance, and what a difference it's going to make to just the overall enjoyment that our players have being athletes here, but then also, the comfort in knowing that they're going to have the ability to improve in numerous ways, to stay healthy in numerous ways, and also to rehabilitate when they have to in numerous ways. So there's a lot of comfort, I think, for our players in knowing that those kinds of resources are available to them. As a result, we now have some of the best recruits that we've had in many, many years. The last 2 recruiting classes have been nationally ranked. And we have one of the best coaching staffs in the nation right now, with starting off with Coach McIntyre, who was the Coach of the Year last year. And again, the reason that that's important is because players want to be coached up. They want to continue to improve. And they want to know that if they have the kinds of coaches that can make them improve, they're going to be better off for it. It also means that we're going to start winning. And we have started winning. So last year was a great year for us. We won our division in the Pac-12. We were ranked in the top 25 for a while, and we went to a bowl game. And so, we feel like we're back on the winning path. Now, we didn't have a great year this year. We understood that we were going to lose a lot of upperclassmen, and that a lot of those great recruits that we had brought in these last couple of years were probably going to need a year to get us back to that level. So in spite of the bad record, the fact that we didn't go to a bowl game, we didn't win our division, that was pretty much expected. And we still have a tremendous amount of optimism about the future and the good things that these new recruits are going to do for us. The teammates remain unbelievably committed to the program. In spite of the fact that the year didn't go quite as well as they had wanted it to or hoped it would, they still are very, very committed. And I think one of the things that doesn't get talked about very often when high school players come and visit is how important the teammates are that they're going to be around, and whether they're good people that are committed to being the best they can be, either on the field or in the classroom or in the community. And we have those kinds of players. I think that if we have the opportunity for Johnny to come and visit and meet some of the guys, I think he'll go away feeling like, that could be my home away from home. That could be my family away from my family. And again, the reason that I bring that up to you is that it sometimes goes unnoticed. It sometimes goes, without mention. And we feel like that is a really important part of our program that's going to make the player comfortable and enjoy the time that is going to be here, at the University of Colorado. Beyond that, there are other things that come to mind when we talk about, our football program. We've got killer uniforms, and back in my day, you had one uniform, maybe two uniforms. Now we've got, 34 different combinations of colors and things like that. And, the players like that. That's fun. And, we know that they like that and that it's fun. And, we've kind of gotten behind that when, maybe we could have just said, nah, we'll continue to wear the two uniforms that we had. We got a great mascot. And you might ask yourself, well, what the heck does having a great mascot have to do with school? Again, it's fun. It's something to be proud of. You get excited to be able to run on the field behind Ralphie. And believe it or not, the players feel like Ralphie's a part of the team. The student body feels like Ralphie's a part of the community. And again, it just goes to the overall enjoyment and satisfaction that comes from playing for CU. So that's kind of my, in a nutshell, description of our football program. And really feel like, for the right player, it couldn't be a better place to be playing at the next level. Okay, so not as great as I want it to be, but we'll get it better.